Recently, the 1 year anniversary event has come to a close. Or at the time of recording this, it has at least. And well, throughout that entire year, I decided, you know what? What if we made a video going over the entire year for Star Rail? Just this entire first year. Don't worry, we'll make future videos in the years to come. And this video has a lot of ground to cover, as there are a lot of things that have happened within this year. All sorts of things like, the usual drama, love, hate, all those things, character releases, and of course story. Obviously I will avoid spoilers as much as humanly possible, but there are just some that are just a little bit unavoidable due to the dramas that happen within the community regarding the story, so yeah, don't worry, I'll put a warning when I am about to spoil them. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video. I don't think there's a better spot to start this video than, of course, the release. The release of this game was actually very good, especially compared to the usual releases where, the game is just broken. But anyways, the game was actually working, not broken in any form of way. And well, there was only one limited 5-star at the time. Zeely. Zeely was basically just a character, single target DPS, could take another turn if she killed something. In modern day, that's actually pretty awful, but at the time, that was broken. That was the best thing ever. And of course, she was actually nerfed before she came out. We will not be reviewing the CBT because I did not have access to it, and unfortunately, I don't have a time machine. All you need to know about the CBT was she was overpowered, and now she's not so overpowered. But hey, she's still really strong. She's the best DPS in the game after all. Or well, at least is kind of. She was actually competing with Yanjing, which will already tell you that, I'll tell you right now, that quickly got power crept because, being in competition with a standard banner 5-star just doesn't really do you much justice, does it now? Especially if you're released at launch. But anyways, the base part of the game. The actual game itself, aside from the limited 5-star, the gameplay at the time was actually much more different compared to what we see in modern day. In modern day, we see a bunch of very aggressive team comps. Team comps that essentially aim to kill everything before they are killed, or just use one sustainer to, keep the whole damn team alive. Back then, though, we didn't have the sustaining power that we have today. And therefore, we just don't have the ability to put in as much DPS. Sure, there was a hyper carry DPS team going around, Bronya, Tiggy, and Zeely, and I think it was Natasha, I believe. Okay, hold on, I'm actually editing this, and correction, it was Japard or Bailu. Sometimes both, if you were just playing story. But obviously, a memory of chaos was a thing. And of course, everyone was also trying to race to beat this. And during this time period, things like Simulated Universe were also considered difficult, actually. Even despite all the blessings that you got, the curios, and people didn't exactly know what was broken and what was not broken. Basically, ignorance was probably like the biggest thing that held the community back, because little do you know, you were actually pretty strong if you had Zeely, because Zeely really was just that defining. Like, she really did just define this patch, most, like 90% of it at least. Especially with how we would literally have people just screenshot them doing, I don't know, Queen Jillian damage to the dragon boss, which was the only Echo of War at the time, unless you had actually beat the Belobog story. But, the Belobog story in itself was probably the best story Star Rail has had since its release. Though, at the time of recording, there's Penaconies going on, and honestly, I think Penacony might be something even better than Belobog, but we'll definitely see in the future. I think the only slight controversy, if you even want to really call it that, people were just mostly stating it, but some people like to call it a controversy, so I'll cover it here. Basically, our land used to be really overpowered in the CBT. Like, he was probably the best 4-star in the CBT, but now he's like literally the worst character in the game. And I guess that made some people a little unhappy. But aside from that, there really wasn't much controversy within the first half of the 1.0 update. Well, the second half wasn't nearly as scot-free as the first half though, because, you know, a lot of Chinese players, I guess, got upset because the second half of the first update, of course, had Jing Yuan. Jing Yuan, our general, I won't lie, he sucks. He is a terrible character. Don't use him if you have him. I feel bad for you if you do have him, because he is just so, he is actually the most useless DPS in the entire game. Like, no contest. As he really and truly just so bad, because like he loses so much damage if he gets CC'd. And well, the thing is though, he wasn't like this in the CBT. He actually was much more stronger in the CBT, and I guess a lot of the Chinese players who had saved their gems on the Sealy banner to pull for Jing Yuan weren't really happy with this, and honestly I think that's fair, because, you know, they tried to save up for something that was fun and then lost it. But yeah, that was the only real controversy that occurred within the 1.0 update. And thus, it's time for us to move on to the 1.1 update.
As for missions, I can do this in my sleep.
Alright, to quickly summarize the 1.1 update, there was 2 characters, new story, and of course, 2 light guns. Yeah, that's about it really. There's not very much going on in the 1.1 update. This was more like a downtime almost. Mostly because, well, I mean, shit, when you literally come off of the Belobog story, which is peak fiction, by the way, up until Pentacon at least. We'll talk about that later. That was peak fiction. It's kind of hard for you to, you know, come off with another big bang. Though there was a lot of exposition, and they also actually had scrapped a good bit of the story, I believe. Or was it? Oh, it's on 1 point. Okay, never mind. There were also some events in the 1.1 update, as one of the events were the Everwinter City Museum. This actually is a continuation of the Belobog story, or well, at least I think it is, I don't know. But basically you just try and fill up a museum. Honestly, I think this was pretty cool to do. And there was also other companion missions. Punk Lord Mentality, which basically got you Silverwolf Nightcon. Or well, that's what I like to call it, since that's literally the only character it's good on. A Night Stranger, which came out upon Watch's release, who we'll talk about later, Frosty Blade's Trial, and Evidence Like the Morning Dew. Same story, all of them came out after La Watcha came out, and honestly, I think this made the update pretty okay. It wasn't very good, to be honest, looking back on it, especially compared to how our updates are nowadays, but it was a start, and honestly, that's all that matters for Star Rail. Now to talk about the 3 characters that released. Yukong, Silverwolf, and Luocha. Yukong was a 4-star imaginary character. She wasn't very good at all. Like, nobody uses her. Silverwolf, on the other hand, really good character. She basically defined the entire early game meta, as basically she could implant a weakness. Now obviously I know this isn't a big deal nowadays to veteran players, but to new players, this was a big deal. The ability to ignore weaknesses with her was a very, very powerful perk. And then Luocha came out, and Luocha was also a 5-star healer. A healing imaginary unit. That, see, now, he was unique in the sense that he didn't need to use skill points to do his job. He could heal without using skill points. That is what makes him meta even now, to this current day. Well, at least, for now at least, at the time of recording this, who knows, maybe Adventuring actually overtook him. Alright then now we get to talk about the 1.2 update. This update came out with 3 new characters, 2 new light cones, and of course to events and more main story, which by the way, this story was actually pretty good. It definitely made a recovery from what happened in 1.1. This story wasn't very good in 1.1, let's just say it that much. But pretty much, we have 3 new characters. One of these characters is Blade. This character found a place in the meta as a sub DPS. As pretty much this character kind of sucks when you try to do hyper carry with him. Oh yeah, and also this was the beginning of, you know, Seely's fall from grace. As Seely would just slowly but surely get worse from here. Oh yeah, and also remember our general from 1.0? Yeah, Kafka power crept him completely. So yeah, he's useless now. Oh, and what's that? The new event actually prioritizes dot characters too? Oh my, yeah, this is definitely yeah, I'm sorry, General. You're not getting good at all. Oh yeah, and then there's Luca. I mean, I guess we can say he's okay. He provides bleed. If that's any good still. And now let's talk about the light cone, since I think Blade's light cone was actually pretty interesting. This light cone is actually really generic. Like, you can actually just put this on like any character and it'll automatically make them better, since, well, it's a stat stick. And that's all it really is. Meanwhile, for Kafka's, oh boy, Speed Kafka became a real thing. And trust me, as a Kafka lover, I had to get the light cone. But yeah, honestly, that's all that happened for the 1.2 update. No drama to what I recall, at least. And with that being said, let's move on to the next one. Oh wait, okay, hold on. Turns out I'm a big dum-dum. Yeah, I almost completely forgot about this. Globa and Gotcha Smack with Anango as the instigator. Alright, so just to give some quick little bit of background for this. Basically, when Blade came out, and this is why I think I remembered Blade so well, Globa Bear and Gotcha Smack both had some different ideas for how to run Blade. I forgot which one said which, but somebody said wind damage spear, and the other one said HP spear. And I guess this was basically all it was about. Why are we calling this drama? I know this sounds like a discussion, but like, hear me out. Honestly, I wouldn't have called it drama if it wasn't for a big funny bald guy saying it was drama. And since he said it was drama, it's now in the video. But yeah, basically I guess Globa Bear got proven wrong. But then behind his back, I guess when Anango was making his video and he was trying to do some research, which by the way, I don't think that's what he was trying to do. I think he was just trying to instigate. And oh my god, instigate he did. Because basically it turns out Globa Bear was still preaching the other method, doing more damage. And of course, Gotcha Smack had to respond. And oh my gosh, honestly, I think that was about where it ends, since I think they just hashed it out in a discussion. Honestly, pretty boring way to end drama, but you know how it is. You know, fully grown adults actually talking things out. Boring. Anyways, next patch. Oh yeah, there's a spoiler incoming, so yeah, just skip here and you should be good. Oh yeah, also just a quick little side tangent. Yeah, no, I think Genshin deserved all of the ass beatings that he got. I wanted to put this after 1.2 because, well, this is actually a story spoiler, so, you know, I'll make sure to put a little warning before I talk about this. But yeah, no, he deserved all of his ass beatings. He got bitched in 1.1 by Jing Liu. He got beat the shit out of. No, not even beat the shit up, just jumped in 1.2. You know, honestly, given how often he's robbed me of my 50/50s, he deserved it. He deserved all of these. Hey, you know what? I don't want to hear anything else. That being said, next patch.
Stellaron hunters were the only ones to infiltrate the Xianzhou.
In that case, I'll bring both of you to justice.
Alright then, now let's talk about the 1.3 update. This update brought along 3 characters and 3 light cones, new story, and of course 2 new events. You know, the same old that we're all used to at this point. Obviously, one of these characters was Don Hung and Baiber Lune. This character is probably the best DPS in the game, even to this day, by the way, which is wild to me because it's been like, what, 5 patches since he's released? And we also have Fu Xuan, a tank who mitigates damage instead of the stereotypical creating shield like we have been used to for the past few characters, and a harmony unit known as Lynx. Lynx is much more of a character that pairs with tanks, as this character pretty much increases their aggro value. With the light cones, honestly none of these light cones are really generic except for the light cone that came out for the simulated universe. This was solidary healing. Basically what this thing does is it increases the amount of dot damage that you deal, and if you kill somebody with your dot, well, you just kind of get free energy, and that's really it. It's basically like Kafka's passive, but for free. Honestly, I think that's actually pretty strong. And, well, that's about it for this update. This story was actually more like a winding down type of story, especially after what happened in 1.2, since the 1.2 update was probably one of the much more better updates in terms of story. But with that being said, that's all there is to really cover for the 1.3 update. So, on to the next patch.
The Xianzhou has met with countless trials. The darkening mists shroud the radiant moon.
And here we are, release of 1.4. This update was pretty massive, to be honest, as it added 3 new characters, but of course, it started reruns. And if you don't know what a rerun is, basically, it's just when they just bring back a character, which in this instance was Zeely, who, you know, was already getting a little bit power crept at this point, but I don't think she was useless at this point either, so, you know, there's always that. And then there's 2 new light cones, one of which I have, so yeah, that's always cool to mention. And of course there was 2 new events. Or actually no, there's only 1 new event actually, I just now remembered, because they were trying something out. Where instead of the normal HSR gameplay, you instead get to control monsters, like it's Pokemon or something. Honestly, I think that's a pretty cool concept, and I think they should toy around with it a little bit more. If only they would, you know, come back to it, which I don't think they're ever gonna do. But yeah, with that being said, on to the next patch, since there was no drama really. Oh yeah, there's a spoiler incoming, so yeah, just skip here and you should be good. Oh yeah, and also another big deal about this update, it started the Trailblaze continuances. Basically, there are going to be, I think, 3 Trailblaze continuances from this point onward. Basically, they're just continuations of the current story. In this continuation, basically the IRS comes back to haunt the fucking Bellabog area. And well, I guess it's your job to stop them from blowing up the place, since apparently they're doing more damage to the place than the Legion of Destruction did. Sorry, I understand it was a spoiler. I'll put don't worry, when I'm editing, I'll put a little warning. Sorry. Oh yeah, also, just like 2 more things that I wanted to mention before we move on to the next match. 1, Topaz used to be really caked up apparently, and they nerfed it, so, you know, I didn't really enjoy that. And also, the animations don't really involve her, so that's kind of like the only quote-unquote drama. It wasn't even really drama, it was just controversy, but like, you know, that's all there was to this patch. And that being said, this next patch, for real this time.
Maybe I should just resign. Oh, it won't matter if I'm gone anyway.
Hey, lady, this is the wrong...
Ghost. What ghost?
You scared me. Oh, there really is something!
Here I am!
Now we're here with the 1.5 update. The 1.5 update added 3 new characters, Argenti, Hanya, and Huahua, 3 light cones, Hey Over Here, Night of Fright, an instant before a gaze, and 2 new events. One of these events were actually tied to the new story for the Zien show, which, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't very good. I don't think I ever actually completed this, since this was okay at best. I don't know. I'm not really into Ghostbusters either, though, so there's always that. And then there's also the Boulder Town Marshal Expedition, which I will not lie, I remember during this update, I think, if I remember correctly, I think I really didn't enjoy the story so much to the point where I put down the game for a good bit. So, yeah, I didn't get to complete this either. But I think it was basically just trying to sell the new character. That's all this event really was. And, well, that it did honestly very poorly, because this character, Argenti and Huohuo, were both really, really underwhelming. I just simply pulled for Huohuo because, well, come on, she's cute, come on. She's cute, guys. Alright, and they also reran Silverwolf, which, I mean, at this point, she wasn't really as relevant as she was before, so you could actually skip her too. So yeah, 1.5 really was just one massive sleeper, now that we look back on it. Though I do believe they also added in some new relics in this patch. The Ash Blazing Grand Duke, Prisoner in Deep Confinement, Panacani of the Dreamlands, and of course, Firmament Frontline Glamoth. Firmament Frontline Glamoth. Yeah, is that how you say it? Firmament Frontline Glamoth. Okay, yeah, there you go. That's how we're saying it. Alright, that's what we're saying. Alright, that's there now. That's the video. Alright, that's that patch, and now we're gonna go to 1.6. Oh yeah, also, I know I forgot to mention the relics in the 1.2 update, so no, I'm not naming these shits again. So here's what we're going to do. HP set, speed set, and crit damage set. I mean, damage bonus set that is based on crit rate. And then the other one, oh well, fuck, who cares? No one uses this. Anyways, next patch now. And now we're at the 1.6 update. The 1.6 update is, well, just like every other update. 3 characters, 2 light cons. Oh yeah, and a new boss, which, I mean, I forgot to mention that on 1.22, so I'll mention it here. They both have new botches. Both of these patches have new... The
soft wind beckons the early spring. A joyous mood does it bring. A chilly wake from rest. The plum blossom in...
Both of these patches have new bosses. And Dr. Ratio, well, I mean, fuck, he was kinda useless until most recently. Ron May, wow, Ron May actually changed .comps a lot, actually, because now they use her instead of whatever they were doing before. I kinda already forgot, because, well, I didn't really run .comps. I actually ran, Jing Liu, since, she looks really pretty, okay? We also have another new character, another new 4-star, which something I think you'll notice is I don't really talk about the 4-stars very much. That's because, well, no one cares. These 4-stars, nobody uses these. Zhui is a character that nobody used after like 2 days. Like, only guide makers used her for like more than 2 days. And even they probably stopped using her by now. Meanwhile, with the light cones, we have Past Self and Mirror and Baptism of Pure Thought. Well, honestly, these are pretty self-explanatory. Past and Self Mirror was strictly for Ron May, no one else. Who else is going to use Break Effect? Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, Harmony MC. The Harm MC. Okay. And then we also have Baptism and Pure Thought. This is just for Dr. Ratio. Nobody else. No one else is using this. And then, of course, we have the Blade and Kafka reruns. Which, by the way, Blade was still a good character. If he were to get reran again, let me just say it this way, still a good character. Would pull. And same with Kafka. Kafka, I don't think will ever be power crept, but that's a side tangent for a different video. And we also have the next Trailblaze mission, Crown of Mundane and Divine. This was just a continuation to the Heart of Space Station story. Whatever the hell they have going on there, I didn't even realize that was a story, but, well, there's a story there. Personally, I think they should have kept that as an epilogue, Or would it be a prequel? Oh, well, fuck. You know what? It's in the video now. With that being said, next patch. Okay, I'm gonna edit in a quick little timestamp where you can skip to if you want to just keep on watching the video. But like, bro, I do actually have a little bit of a theory that I just want to put out here. Since if you don't know the Echo War boss for the Herta space station, it's the Swarm King. So, you know, my theory is, what if there is some propagation, some secret followers of propagation in there, in the Herta space station, kind of like how there was followers of the Order within Penacony. Obviously, that's just a theory, but yeah. That being said, back to the video. There's a couple more significant things I want to mention with this patch, and that is Critter Pick and Virtual Adventure. These were just events, and well, honestly, these weren't really interesting. They were just free gems. But there was another thing, a free Dr. Ratio. That's right, Dr. Ratio came out for free. And unfortunately, if you're watching this video, you're probably too damn late. But hey, if you did get him, all I gotta say is, he's a pretty solid character now. He's not very good. He wasn't very good on release, but now he's actually a really good character. Mostly because he actually has a team that he belongs in now. Unlike before, where, I mean, you could kind of pair him with Topaz, but I mean, shit, who really cares? Now he has an entire new buffer dedicated to this type of team comp, aka the latest release, Robin. But that's all for the meta discussions. Now back to the video. Oh wait, I forgot, 1.0 actually ended. Yeah, alright, 2.0. Oh boy, okay, this is a big update. The 2.0 update came along with 3 new characters, and let's just count the number of light cones since I actually don't remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 new light cones came out in this update, 8 of which were free, by the way. And then of course we had a Donhung Imbiber de Lune rerun, and our general came back to the damn banner. Spoiler warning, no one pulled for him. And of course we have events. We have at least 3 events, I believe. Dream Jolt TV, Dream Chaser Bulletin, Hanyu's Prison Break, Penacony Food Fest, and I think that was about it. And then of course there was new story, a lot of it actually. The Sound and the Fury, Long Day's Journey into the Night, Knocking at Ungodly Hours, The Youth Who's Chased Dreams, Sleepless Night, Tales from the Golden Age, Good Omen, my friend, Lullaby of the North Wind, Gentleness, The Name of Nocturne. The fuck, God, that name was really wild. Through a Glass Darkly, Should One Awaken at Midnight, Wood Unit. This was a massive update, as we obviously got the first lesbians in our show. Lovely. Which, you know, hey, gay pride support. Also, Twitter blew up about this because, well, if you didn't know, Black Swan is a lesbian. It's very heavily hinted at. Like, she has a very, very weird interest in Acheron. Like, yeah, she says all this and that, but it's like, good lord. Do you really have to dick ride her that much? That's my genuine question. Oh, yeah. And now we get to talk about Sparkle. Sparkle, Sparkle, Sparkle. Oh, or should I say, the thing that she's much more known for. Well, well, well. Ooh, this character blew up on Twitter for the wrong reasoning. And that is because apparently she, in the Chinese version of the game, told Adventurine something that I guess referenced a very big crime that happened to a group of people, and like it was like a real world event. It wasn't like a oh yeah, they're just referencing something that happened in the world. No, this was a real world event. And people on Twitter got mad about it, I guess. Which, by the way, we do have to talk about. Oh, good lord. Some of her lines are so insane. Here, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and edit just some of the lines that she says in here.
Might not be as pretty as yours, but there's no problem with my vision. You Sigonians are notorious throughout the entire universe. Liars, thieves, social manipulators, wolves in sheep's clothing. You're really, I say, you belong to the space under the manhole cover. Not in a dream. There's one right over there. Off you go.
I'll pass. The glue thing.
You sound very sure of yourself. Looks like you've already convinced that chicken wing boy from the... How did you do it, little peacock? Did you strip yourself naked, apologize to him on your knees, and promise that the IPC would never harm Penacony? Friends with. At least a rock won't be able to refute your argument. So long.
And honestly, if she's a canonical racist, honestly, I wanna hear more of this shit, because this shit is funny as hell. I wanna see Twitter explode again, alright? That being said, we can now talk about Misha, who honestly I think was a pretty interesting character on her release. I mean, on his release, sorry, I still can't get over the fact that it literally looks like a girl, bro. It looks so... This is a femboy, chat. But anyways, sorry. I think this is the only 4-star that people actually bothered to use since, you know, he actually was a counter to Adventurine, which if you don't know, on release of this chapter, I mean of the next chapter, not this one, Adventurine was like super duper broken, like as a boss fight. Like, he could actually just one-tap some of your units, and you just couldn't do anything about it until they nerfed him. So yeah, that was that. And I think that wraps up this update. Yeah, that does in fact wrap up this update, aside from the 2 new relics, the Pioneer Diver of Dead Waters, and Watchmaker Master of Dream Machination. Watchmaker Master of Dream Machinations. Oh, good lord, that is such a long name. But anyways, that is all with this update. If you want to know how to use these two, I mean, it's really not that hard. Pioneer, you use this on, you know, the dot character. What a surprise. You put the dot set on the dot character. And then you put Watchmaker on the, you know, break effect character, aka Ron May, and, well, if you're watching this now, well, the Harm MC. And now we have the 2.1 update. The 2.1 update has 3 new characters, 3 new light cones, 2 reruns, like 2 new events, which, I mean, 2 of which were actually pretty unique in the sense that instead of the normal double relic reward, there's triple relic rewards. Yeah, that's already all. Oh yeah, and there's also the 1st year anniversary, which kind of what was inspired this entire video here. Because, you know, the anniversary was actually a pretty big deal, and they actually, they gave a lot more than Genshin, that's for sure. You know, in the game that is very well known for caring and giving, apparently. Which I've never known it for that, but hey, I guess if you're a part of the Genshin community, then shit, I guess you love the game that much. The 3 new characters were Acheron, Adventuring Gallagher, Adventurine pretty much being broken when you pair him with Robin. It took him an entire patch to actually be good. Acheron, who is already really good and is probably still one of the better DPS in the entire game, if not at least the 3rd best DPS in the game. Gallagher, who is a abundance that does damage. Oh boy, we love abundances that just put on the blick now. Oh man, reminds me back of my Overwatch days. But anyways, the new Trailblaze mission, of course. New story, where I think Adventurine's dead, or well, that's what we end up thinking until 2.2. And well, fuck the light cones, well, who cares? The only one that you need to know is that Acheron needs her light cone. She's kind of like the general, but you know, if he was actually good instead of how he is. We also had a new world to the simulated universe in this update, which added in the Izuma Gensei and Takuma Divine Realm, and the Sigonia, the Unclaimed Desolation. Inuzuma was simple. Simply, you have the same path, you do more damage. That was very simple stuff to understand. Signoria, you defeat enemies, you get crit damage. Very simple stuff, realistically speaking. And that's honestly all there was to this update, really, realistically speaking. The story was actually still pretty good, to be honest. As well, it ended with quite literally a world-cutting slash. No, I'm not joking. You would really think Acheron is Sukuna, with how fucking world-cutting that shit was. But of course, that leads us into our next update, the 2.2 patch. Also, there's just like a little tidbit of info that I didn't really know where to put it, because it was about a character that came out in 2.2, but like, it took place, the events itself took place in 2.1, or at least during the time period of 2.1, so I'm just going to put it in between these two. But basically, I guess somebody had said, okay, after a quick little bit of research, basically a guy named Toronto, he said that he wanted to be with Robin. Oh boy. This made Twitter a little bit angry. Honestly, I have no clue where the hell they got the headcanon of she's a lesbian. I mean, good lord. And Ango says it best. I'm just gonna roll his little clip.
Reason for hating Robin is that she is not gay and therefore will have no canon lesbian shippings. Like, initially it did seem that Robin was going to be yet another gay addition. For one, every other Trailblazer thus far has been either implicitly or explicitly gay, but then Robin was also revealed on International Gay Woman Day, as well as given a gay flag painted on her, and then her songs reference poetry and all poetry is gay. So when I saw Tectone make the tweet like LOL Robin is straight and Dalway he himself confirmed, I was like, okay, whatever, funny bait I guess. But no, she's obviously going to be gay like every other Trailblazer so far. As I always remind my viewers, all Trailblazers are default gay unless proven otherwise. The onus is on media illiterate straight cells to prove the straightness of Trailblazers. Unfortunately, it turns out Tectone wasn't baiting and did actually talk with Dalway, because shortly after this tweet, Ankai Starro confirmed that Robin is in a canon straight relationship with the male.
But yeah, basically, Twitter gets mad at Toronto, and of course, Tectone taunts Twitter, basically taunting them off of Toronto. And of course, because Twitter knows they can't get after Tectone, I guess, or at least that's the narrative that he's spinning, and that's kind of where I'm doing my research, so thank you, Tectone, or, you know, big funny bald guys, I like to call you. They immediately go after a voice actor, aka the VA of Robin, who I guess was very quick to submit to their doing. Good lord, this was a little bit sad to read, but hey, I guess that's an ending for some drama, isn't it? And honestly, I'm kind of happy with this, mostly because it was more entertaining than the last one that I actually had to cover. And I mean, shit, knowing these gacha game dramas, for some reason they always tend to end a little bit more on the darker end, somehow. But with that being said, I guess we'll talk about 2.2 now. And now everything has come full circle. We are now in the 2.2 update. The 2.2 update is of course where we currently are at the time of recording this, and will probably be where we currently are at the time of posting this, hopefully, knowing my work schedule, probably not. We have Boot Hill, Robin, and the Harm MC. And yes, I will keep on calling her that. I'm sorry, I don't want to offend Twitter here. Trust me, I've seen what happens to people that do that. Of course, we have 4 new light cones. The Flowing Night Glow, Sailing Towards a Second Life, Boundless Choreo, and For Tomorrow's Journey. One of the light cones and one of the characters I just now mentioned are not out. Boot Hill, and I believe Sailing Towards a Second Life. Those are the 2 that are not out. With the character warps, we currently have Topaz and Fushuen, who are the reruns, of course. Oh, well, Fushuen is the next rerun, at least, because, you know, it's not out yet. That's the time of recording this, at least. And, of course, events we have currently going on. The Clocky Dreamjoy Memoir, and after Boot Hill comes out, we're going to have a thing for all about Boot Hill. Pretty much just telling us about him. We have Trailblaze Missions, which this story was so peak. Like, by the way, this story was literally the best story. Like, I think this actually might beat Belobog. Especially if it keeps on going the way that it's going. Trailblaze Missions being In Our Time, The Great Train Robbery, The Fool Always Rings Twice, Small Town Grotesque, The Public Enemy, Bullet and Train, The Only Path to Tomorrow, Seabiscuit, Beauty and Destruction, Then Wake to Weep, Everything That Risses Must Converge, The Sun Also Rises, and On the 8th Day. We also got a new boss. Honestly, I think this boss fight was actually really cool. A lot of people were hyping it up on TikTok to be even harder than pre-nerf Adventuring. I don't think they were really right about that, but I also used Topaz and Himiko, so, you know, who knows, maybe I'm just pay to win, who knows. I do buy the monthly pass after all. I'd be pretty mad if I wasn't considered a pay to win. And as of right now, the only drama that has really come out about Boot Hill is that, well, nobody likes the headcanons that everyone's coming up with. I have no clue why. Personally, I think he's a gangster, man. Like, this man is an absolute gangster for what he's been doing. And honestly, I hope he continues this in the 2.3 update when it comes out. But with that being said, that is all for this patch. Of course, on to the next. Okay, I know I said on to the next, but like, there's no more here. There's nothing else here. And you know what? We need to keep on talking for just a quick little second. As of course, there are some other things that we did talk about. Like, one, let's talk about things that we know are coming. Boot Hill is going to be a single target DPS. Very, very straightforward. As straightforward as it gets, to be honest. And there's also going to be apparently a new mode that's coming out. I don't know if it's coming out when Boot Hill comes out, but that's all we really know right now. That is essentially just going to be like a boss rush, essentially bringing characters like Zeely back, in case you're really curious about why I keep on bringing up Zeely. Trust me, I have hope for our glorious purple-haired queen, okay? With that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like or a comment and subscribe. Or I guess if you really hated this video, I mean, shit, I guess you can leave a comment to try and hurt my feelings. But with that being said, I'm out. Oh yeah, also, just another quick little side tangent before I really end this video. I've seen the Firefly Dreams, I guess we'll call them, and she looks literally unplayable right now. Can she please get a buff? That'd be really nice before she comes out. I actually want to play her. You know, she is my girlfriend after all. That being said, now it's the end of the video. For real this time. Hopefully, right?